So this week's Torah portion was a real hoot. Chata, all kinds of chatas were written in between the lines, in the space between or something. And chata basically it's like what's some sort of offering. Basically, most of the time the offering is something along the lines of barley, like just barely qualifying for this, that, or the other. And how gnarly is your barley, Jim Zarley? Jim Zarley's barley is fairly gnarly. And there's lots of mention of fire and wells and things along those, just tons of fire. They had it was fairly mistranslated, though, because there was an over usage of hyphens, believe it or not. And the word elevate, so much so the word elevate and the overusage of hyphens, even long hyphens. I just started to think of elevators. There's a Seinfeld episode that talks about elevators. Some dude, anyways. And let's see here. That's the summary of the Torah portion. The Haftarah was also fairly interesting. Something along the lines of desolate places, just things being desolate and fire. That's a summary of this week's Torah portion. And then short and long hyphens and chata. I think I probably consumed some sort of kosher tacos, but I forgot to consume any horchatas for whatever reason. I mentioned this joke a long time ago, but it's still relatively fascinating. And believe it or not, the lights were still on in the other book. I opened up that twice, and I think it said the same thing. And randomly, and in corresponding to the Shekinah or something like that. And that was that. And also, there's, anyways. What else was fairly mentionable? If I was to rewrite this commentary, I would use probably some different synonyms. Also, oh yes, there was a miniaturization of things, and so we had some tiny tables, some tiny shoes, a tiny toothpaste. The oral tradition was mentioned in an Oral-B toothpaste or Oral-B toothbrush. I found there was a tiny shovel, although it wasn't mine, and I built it. And there was a building of a tiny fence, and a tiny string, and there's lots of things that were tiny. And they used an interesting synonym. I like the word tiny, but other people like to use the word miniature. The miniaturization of things. And anyways, until next time, over and out.